Autumn Nation Series Team of the Week, folks, for that final round. Only the two games, the Aussies, the Welsh, the Springboks and the English were in action. It's kind of a nicer one to pick a Team of the Week when there are not quite so many games, because you get a chance to maybe justify a few more of the losing players. When there's like, oopsie daisy, sorry, what if there's like 6 games on or whatever it is, something ridiculous, 5. You're really struggling to squeeze all the talent into 15. So, yeah, a little bit less pressure on this one. Autumn Nation Series obviously done and dusted. We can have a look at the kind of end-of-year stuff, Team of the Year and whatnot in the next couple of weeks or so. But for this last round, let us celebrate these key performers from the week that was, and you guys can let us know your thoughts. Loose head prop. I ended up going with a Springbok and old Oxenche. Wasn't his most like block-busting, ball-carrying, getting tries and whatnot runs. Like 3 runs, 4 meters, a pass, 3 from 4 tackles, but no penalties conceded. Big unit at scrum time, big in the clean-outs, and he even wins a bloody turnover. So, yeah, very much one of the faces of what was a pretty dominant performance from the Springboks up front is Big Ox. So he's come along pretty well in honestly the last 18 months, 2 years since the Beast retired. I think Ox and Kitsoff make a pretty mean combo looking for that number 1 jersey. And it's another Springbok in the other propping spot in old Frans Malherbe. How many minutes did he play? Like 72, I think it was. I'll look it up before we... There, it'll be there. 72? 76. I've got notes. Why didn't I read notes before I say? Yeah, Frans Malherbe played a long game. He's not maybe... not renowned for being able to go 76 minutes, but boy, does he do it well. I mean, he is another one who's just... always fronting up as he should do as a prop, right? I mean, 2 runs for a meter is not that flash. 9 from 10 tackles, though, that's 90%. He does concede 1 penalty. But, I mean, the guy's just ever... I remember for the clean-out of him, he's cleaning out for the Itoje, trying to pilfer. Then Eben goes over for a try. Like, who's there doing the stuff which doesn't appear in my stats? Frans Malherbe. You'd love him if you're a coach, man. Big, reliable, tight head prop who can play almost 90 minutes and just dominate up front. Scrum time, Springboks, love it. Happy, happy days. A non-Springbok at hooker, an old Falau Flyhalf. He's had a pretty good year in what's been a bit of a rotated jersey for the Wallabies. Many jerseys for the Wallabies have been chopping and changing, but he gets a try. He's very good at getting old maul tries, so he gets over the line for his one. 4 runs for 16 metres, pretty decent return from the front rower. One of the top tacklers with 11 from 12 in that game, even a couple of passes. The line-out operates pretty well. There's one that goes too high and they miss it, but overall... Falau Flyhalf. Only 1 penalty conceded for the Wallabies is also almost miraculous at this point. So, yeah, pretty good game without that try. Don't think the Wallabies get back and claw their way back into that game. But there you go. There's your front row. Locks. Long-awaited return of old Alan Wynne-Jones. He seemed like he was chomping at the bit to get back into the action, didn't he? Haven't played for a couple of weeks. Not selected for the 23. Gets into the squad. Has 7 carries for 26 metres, which for a lock, just quietly, is pretty useful numbers. He even manages a clean break. What does he do in that clean break when he's put through the gap by Thomas Williams? He canters on through, gets the old chicken wing offload, and sets up Jack Morgan for a try. So well done from the old boy, man. 10 passes from him is massive. His tackle count's kind of low, 4 from 5. He's usually a real workhorse, but he was too busy making passes, apparently. Wins a couple of lineouts, does have a couple of penalties conceded, but overall, I thought old Alan Wynne in a losing shift was doing all right. You probably know who's coming as the other lock. He's been good all year, hasn't he? I can't wait to crunch all the numbers for the year that was. I reckon there's a few guys who are going to have some massive numbers, and Big Eben is going to have some big numbers. I reckon. 6 runs for 10 metres from him. So I'm saying Alan wins 7 from 26 is pretty good for a lock. Like 6 for 10 is kind of standard. But he manages a try, does big Eben. When they're a metre out, he's able to flop over the line, which is not the kind of thing you see Eben do that often. He's not a big prolific try-scoring lock. Which locks are prolific try scorers? There's not many. It's not really what they're in the team for. What's he in the team for? 8 from 8 tackles. 5 line-out wins. He's the top line-out man in that game. I think Itoje had 4. Edsbeth had 5. He gets a line-out steal. He even passes the ball 3 times. Does a bit of everything. Does Big Eben. So he's having a great year. Does cough up the pill a couple of times and does concede 1 penalty. But overall, Big Eben, I think he's pretty good value. Loose forwards, I think you'd be hard pressed to not let this guy, Jack Morgan, bring a smile to your dial if you're a Welsh fan. I know Wales have had a couple of pretty stink weeks, but man, Jack Morgan's been good. Very, very good. What was that, 4 tries in 2 weeks? He gets 2 of them in this game. He has 15 runs for 70 bloody metres, man. Who does this guy think he is? A clean break, beats 7 defenders. 11 from 11 tackles. I mean, one of his tries is a maul try, and one of them is that Alan Wynne-Jones chicken wing offload. Johnny on the spot, breaks tackle on the way there. 4 passes and an offload, doesn't concede any penalties. I mean, he does cough up the pill once. But geez, he's good. Yeah, it's been some dark times, but Jack Morgan is a real, real bright spot. 7 was a hard one. But I ended up going with Fraser McCright pretty much for his defensive shift and not a heck of a lot else. Sometimes you just need a guy to get through all your tackles, and that's what Fraser did. I mean, 6 runs for 18 metres is all right without being all that flash. I mean, Jack Morgan was 15 runs for 70, so it's kind of hard to compare the two there. He makes 4 passes, but 13 from 15 tackles. Wallabies top tackler in that game. When they needed some tackles to be made, this guy's in the team to make tackles. So, yeah, you need that kind of player. He can do the flashy stuff as well, but it wasn't the week for that. I mean, the bad thing is he concedes 3 penalties. For a Wallaby, concede 3 penalties is almost not that surprising these days. But man, he's pretty young to the test scene. That's an element you'll need to clean up because the Wallabies generally have had pretty shocking discipline. But there you go, Fraser McCright. And interestingly, another Welshman, and old Talupe Faletau. He's had a good series, to be fair. Scores a try. Out on the wing, some quick hands from the guys in the build-up. 8 runs, 34 metres. That's pretty tiny numbers for Talupe. A clean break and a defender beaten on the way there. 13 from 14 tackles. Again, one of the top guys in the game. Doesn't concede any penalties. Doesn't cough up any pill. He must be shaking his head at times, but he himself, I think, stands up pretty well. So, there you go. There is your forward pack. I'll get to some honourable mentions once we get to the end. Halfback. I went with Jack Van Portfleet from England. He may seem like a strange choice because, England's pack was on the back foot, and it's kind of hard to show how good you are when you're a 9 and your pack is going backwards, but I still thought Jack Van Portfleet played pretty well. He was bad the week before against the All Blacks, and he was subbed and England looked a lot better. But Eddie backed him to go again, and I actually think he did all right. 4 runs for 13 metres, beats a couple of defenders, shows he can snipe when he needs to. 40 passes, that's his core role, including an offload. He puts 5 kicks through as well. I distinctly remember him putting through, I hope it was him. Was it him? Put through that kick that Villy LaRue had to kind of grubber out of their own 22 and didn't lead to an English penalty. Like, kicking game on point at times. 5 from 5 tackles, including one of them when Damien Willems on the kick return. I mean, it ends up setting up a try, but Van Portfleet makes his tackle, which is more than we can say for some other guys in white jerseys that day. But, I thought Van Portfleet, just quietly, in a time which is not made to shine, looked pretty consistent. So, certainly a big improvement from the week before. 10, I went with old Damien Willems. He looked pretty good. He's still not exactly like your traditional 10. How can you tell he's not traditional 10 just by showing you the numbers? I mean, 10 runs, 65 metres, a clean break and 4 defenders beaten. Like, those are nice numbers. But just between you and me, most 10s pass it more than they run it, whereas Willems has 10 runs and he's 6 passes, including a couple offloads. So They play this kind of weird hybrid game when LaRue's playing, because LaRue does a lot of the passing as well, right? A lot of that first receiver playmaking. So, but yeah, man, what can you say? Kicks a couple of sweet drop goals. The first one was an absolute peach. I'm still having kind of good flashbacks about that drop goal. What's the opposite of like nightmares? I'm sitting there daydreaming about Damien Willems a kick and drop goals. It's beautiful stuff. He has 6 passes, like I mentioned, 6 kicks. 2 from 5 tackles, not that flash, and he did drop the pill a few times. But I mean, it's his run, like I mentioned earlier for the Van Portfleet tackle. His run on the kick, when England kick it to him, he runs it, he gets it to LaRue, and LaRue gets it to Arendse. It's try time, so he's the one backing himself. And what can you say? You love to see it. So Damien Willems, good effort, son. Midfield, maybe a bit of a left field one. Partly probably because he was on his debut. But this guy, Joe Hawkins, haven't seen that much of him play. I think I've seen a wee bit of him in the URC, but nothing to kind of burn him into my memory. But man, for a guy on his debut, did all right. 6 runs, 15 metres. He's not afraid to get into some contact. Certainly not busting tackles or getting away from any defenders. But I mean, 13 passes. Goodness me. If Wales need a 12... who's quite happy to play the ball around, Joe Hawkins seems to be the guy. I mean, 6 from 9 tackles, not that flash. He takes a quick line out, concedes a couple of penalties, but I just thought he looked pretty assured. In the right place at the right times when needed. So, yeah, for a guy in his first test, kind of stepping up when other guys are either injured or in the Premiership. So, yeah, promising. Promising. Certainly not like the player of the week, but yeah, no, I thought he was pretty promising. Another guy who's also doing really well this season is Lenekito. He's doing real well. I probably should have had him in teams of the week more often, but sometimes it's hard when his team's not been getting the job done. 6 runs, 6 passes, 4 kicks. He loves a bit of a mixed game, right? He can distribute with his feet, with his hands. He can carry. He beats a defender. Has 13 metres, which is not that flash, but a couple of offloads, including a try assist, where he sets up old Marky Mark out on the left wing. 11 from 11 tackles, though, in that Wallabies shift. Very much needed. One of the top tacklers. I mean, he's a bit behind McCright, but yeah, costs up the pill once. But overall, man, Lenny Kitao has been pretty good in the 13 years. I think he's pretty much made it his own for the Wallabies at the moment. It helps when everyone else is injured, didn't have any competition, but still, there you go. Outside backs, we are spoiled for choice. On one wing, sorry, his surname was really long, but Nawani Tawase, Mark Nawani Tawase. Bloody hell, he was good. I did not, when they took Nawani Tawase on tour instead of Vunivalu, I absolutely questioned that decision. Like, come on, man. Mark Nawani Tawase, like, he's alright at Super Rugby level. Is he going to step up at Test level? Well, yes. The answer is clearly yes. I should have more faith in my fellow Mark. 9 runs, 77 metres, 2 clean breaks, 8 defenders beaten, finishes 2 tries, 6 passes and 3 offloads, 5 from 6 tackles. I mean, goodness gracious me, even puts in a kick. Mark Nawani Tawase has absolutely taken up a notch or 2 in the last couple of weeks. Was really good against Ireland, was even better against Wales. So, man, very promising. That's one of the things about having a massive injury list, I guess, is that you get to try more guys at Test level, and some guys will make the step up, like Mark Nawani Tawase. So, really well done from him. Another guy, and this guy, Kurtley Arendse. I feel like he's the guy who's going to get lots of, I want to say husbands, but not exclusively husbands, wives as well, in trouble when their significant other is talking to them, and this guy's got the ball. You're not going to hear a word your significant other is saying, because you just can't take your eyes off him. He's going to do something, edge of your seat, absolute magic. Jeez, he's been in good form. Unbelievable. You'd think he's played a lot more games than he has, eh? Be interesting to see how well he can keep it up, because sometimes guys have a phenomenal breakthrough year and then aren't able to kind of maintain it. They get other teams do a bit more homework on them and make game plans to kind of counteract them. But geez, Kurtley Arendse has been bloody good. These numbers. 8 runs, 129 metres, 2 clean breaks, 7 defenders beaten, including a try. How many tries has he got now in a row? Was it 6 or 7? He's equaled some record for like Springbok try scorers for games in a row. 1 pass, which is an offload, 2 kicks, even 6 from 6 tackles. Competed for the high ball. Like, goodness me. Curtly Aronson. Yeah, I'm lucky my missus doesn't talk to me much when I'm watching rugby, because I would certainly find myself hard to concentrate when that guy's got the ball, because you just can't take your eyes off it. And lastly, I've had him in the team of the week a couple of times now. Old Billy LaRue, the old dog, still knows a few tricks, doesn't he? Like I said, him and Willemser have got this kind of tandem playmakers thing when they're playing Willemser at 10, and LaRue certainly didn't have to do as much as he did the week before. Like only 7 passes this week, when it was like 28 or something stupid the week before. But includes a try assist. That pass to Aronson, puts through 6 kicks as well. 5 runs, 26 metres, beats a defender, so good when he takes the ball to the line. Good when he distributes 100% with his tackles 1 from 1, so not called upon a lot. 1 turnover conceded is pretty consistent, but man, Willie LaRue, don't know how many years he's got left in Springbok colours, but he's going to have some big shoes to fill, which is weird, because if you'd said that to me 18 months ago, I would have been like, the guy can't catch a high ball, give me a Falele Fassi any day. So yeah, man, he's doing really well. So there you go. Some honourable mentions, like I promised. Ken Owens for Wales was phenomenal. Rio Dyer, I think I called him a different name the other day. Apologies, it's Rio Dyer. Got a try and a try assist. Seal Khaleesi was one of the top tacklers. I think first equal for the Springboks. Mostert as well. Both on the flanks were really good. Malcolm Marks came off the bench and was phenomenal. Won a trademark turnover of his. Curry for England got through some tackles. He did get himself yellow carded though, which is unfortunate. Jack Noel also came off the bench and was really adding a lot more punch. Like Freeman was pretty anonymous, sadly. Samu also, speaking to guys who came off the bench. Pete Samu for Aussie or Australia. You guys need to start him. Why is that guy not starting? I don't understand it. I mean, the Aussie bench generally, Samu, Lolosio, McDermott were all really good. They probably should all be getting more game time. Gareth Anscombe was also pretty good for Wales before he got injured. But there you go, folks. That's the team of the week for the final round of the Autumn Series. Just the 2 games. A wee mixture of players. You guys let us know your thoughts. Who would you have in if you were making a team? And yeah, I will talk to you guys again soon. It's been fun. Cheers. Bye-bye.